Old woman on the street. Source: Shutterstock. Heather walked an older woman down the road, and they connected through shared grief. Years later, the woman walked Heather down the aisle and surprised her with heartfelt words. "Oh, child. You don't have to help me if you're in a hurry," Mrs. Carter told the teenager who saw her struggling with her cane, watching as cars passed too quickly down the street. "It's not a problem," the young girl, Heather, responded, grabbing the older woman's hand. This street was terrible. There were street signs for people to stop for pedestrians, but most drivers didn't pay much attention to them. That's why Mrs. Carter had such a hard time, and her house was on the other side of the street. For illustration purposes only. Source: Pexels. Luckily, Heather managed to get a driver to bring his car to a complete stop, and they made their way slowly down the street. "I'm so sorry, dear. I already had trouble walking when I injured my heel a few months ago. It hasn't healed that well despite what the doctor said," Mrs. Carter apologized as she limped her way through the road. "Mrs. Carter, why aren't you in your seat?" "The ceremony is about to start," Heather said, her eyes widening. "Don't worry about it. I don't mind helping out," Heather replied, still not letting go of the old woman's arm when they reached the other side. "Surely, you have somewhere better to be," Mrs. Carter joked, straightening and breathing heavily. "Actually, I was on my way to the hospital." "Why?" "My mom has cancer, and she had some complications. She's been there a few days, but she insisted on me going to school." "Oh, dear. I hope she gets better soon. That's a terrible disease." Mrs. Carter pursed her lips. "Can I help you to your house?" Heather asked, changing the subject. The woman agreed and told Heather where to go. It wasn't far, but she was so grateful, so she offered Heather some hot cocoa for her efforts. For illustration purposes only. Source: Pexels. I never say no to chocolate. It's my weakness, Heather laughed. Mrs. Carter prepared their cups, and they sat down on her couch. "Are you scared for your mother, dear?" "Well, yeah. She's the only person I have in the world. I don't have friends at school. We've moved a lot over the years because Mom kept trying to get better jobs, and now, we're all alone in this city. I don't know what it'll do if she dies," Heather said, choking on that last word. "It's going to be okay. I'm going to add her to my prayers," Mrs. Carter assured her, patting the teenager's leg. "But you know, I went through similar. I lost my daughter and grandson about 2 years ago in a freak accident, and I thought I would never recover." Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.